morning children, this is KG Misra. I'm again here with the next part of the video on the chapter Electric Potential and Capacitance of class 12th. I hope that all of you are well and fine, okay, taking care of the rules of lockdown as well as studying hard for a better future. Today we will discussing children about the conductors and insulators. Insulators. So what are these conductors and insulators? See, basically conductors we use, that is metals, okay. If you go to the chemistry of periodic table, what you will find, the metals are having valency 1, 2 or 3, okay, or you can say they have got valence electrons 1, 2 or 3. See, the elements which have got the valence electrons 1, 2 or 3, they can obtain octet by releasing the electrons. So their outermost electrons are very loosely attached to their nucleus, okay. And when you take a piece of, suppose we are taking aluminium, you know aluminium has how many electrons? 3 electrons in the outermost shell. So when you take a piece of aluminium, suppose this is a piece of aluminium, okay, and suppose this piece contains, suppose 1 crore atom, 1 crore atoms of aluminium. Now 1 atom is going to contribute how many electrons? 3 electrons, because it is aluminium, okay. 1 crore atoms of Al, okay. So 1 atom will give 3 electrons. So 1 crore atom will give how many electrons? Obviously you will get 3 crore electrons, okay. Now my dear children, those electrons used to leave their parent atom. They leave their parent atom, and after leaving their parent atom, do you know what they do? They are free to move in this piece of conductor, okay. But remember, they are not supposed to go out, okay. So basically this is neutral, because no electron has gone out or no electron has came in this. So it is neutral, but the electrons are valence electrons of all the atoms. They have left their atom, but they are there in this metal piece, and they can move throughout this metal piece, okay. In the bulk of this metal piece as well as on the surface of the metal piece, okay, they can move here and there. And that's why what we call them? We call them free electrons or free charge carriers, okay. And these free charge carriers are responsible for carrying current in this, and that's why it is a conductor. Metals are good conductors, okay. This thing you will not find in insulators. Their electrons are bounded, they are fixed in the bonds, and that's why they cannot move freely, and that's why they don't conduct, okay. That this beautiful quality of metals make it very good conductors. So electrons can roam. You might be thinking, if they are roaming here and there, why don't they come out? Very nice. Let's see what will happen. Suppose 1 electron which was roaming here and there just came out. As soon as it comes out of its surface, what will happen? This piece of metal has lost 1 electron. What will happen if it is losing electron? It will become positively charged, yes. And what is the charge of this electron? Negative. If positive charge and this is negative charge, what will happen between them? Attraction. Opposite charges attract each other. So what will happen to this electron? It will be bounded to go again inside that metal piece. So it cannot go out, okay. Because of electrostatic attraction, it will again go inside this. It can move inside it, but cannot go out. Clear? And that's why this conductors used to conduct electricity. What about the insulator? Insulator actually they don't have any free electron, okay. They are bonded with each other, okay, and that's why they don't have free electrons. When they don't have free electrons, then who will carry the current inside that? No one. And that's why they don't conduct electricity. One more thing is there. See, if you are suppose having an electric field, okay, let me discuss with you. if you are having an electric field, okay, suppose you have got electric field here. How this electric field is generated? Obviously, you will have an area of positive charges here, an area of negative charges. Already I have told you. Okay, just I'm going to remove this. And suppose you have placed here a insulating material. Do you know what will happen? You know very well. It will attract. This insulating material is made up of atoms, and atoms are like this. This is the nucleus, and the electrons are there revolving in the orbit. Okay, so this positive charge area will attract the electron. It will pull the electron and repel this nucleus away. So do you know what happens? These atoms get deformed like this. Okay, when it gets deformed like this, see this positive charge, this nuclear positive charge attracts the electron of the neighboring atom. So neighboring atom also gets deformed like this, because this will repel this nucleus and this will attract this electron, and this again attracts the electron of the neighboring atom, and that also get deformed. Okay, now these two can combine. They used to combine and they get neutralized. These two also combine, they also get neutralized. And so what we get here? Negative. Here we get positive. So here we get negative charge. Here you get positive charge. That is induction. We have seen in induction, no? That is induction. Okay. Now in case of insulator, what we find, no? These charges appear in this way. And outside, suppose you have got an electric field E naught. Okay. Which you have applied due to these two area of charges. Now you can see due to these charges an electric field will be produced inside, which is in opposite direction, and let this electric field is E1. Okay. Now what is the total electric field in this insulator? It is insulator. Okay. It will be obviously E naught minus E1. That is equals to E. Okay. And it is always found that this is positive. Okay. That means, why it is positive? That means here you will find very less charges. Why? Because insulators don't have free charges. Okay. Some atoms ionize, and due to that some charges appear over there. Okay. Otherwise, it doesn't have free electrons. Okay. And that's why E1 is very, very less. The electric field which is produced due to induction in the insulating material is very, very less, weak field. Okay, that's why it will be able to reduce the external field by small amount only. Clear? So this value and this value will not have a large difference. Clear? But if instead of this insulator, if you are having here conductor, then what happened? Do you know? Conductors have lots of free electrons, so you will find lots of negative charges here and lots of positive charges here. And obviously, it will also produce electric field in this direction, like the insulator, because see, electric field is directed from positive charge to negative charge. So what is net electric field inside the conductor? That is E naught minus E1, and that is E. And my dear children, let me tell you, this E1 is equals to E naught. Okay, the electric field produced inside it, it is equal to the external electric field, and directions are opposite. So when you subtract, what we get? We get 0. Okay, we get 0, and this is called shielding effect. Shelding, shielding effect. Okay, so whenever a metal piece is placed in an electric field, then what do you find? Inside the metal, electric field is 0. Okay, even if the metal cavity is there, then also you will find the electric field is not there. Okay, clear? Okay. Now we are going to discuss what are the applications of this shielding effect. See, first and very common application is that when there is a thunderstorm, there is a lightning, then rather than standing near the tree, it is safe to be inside the car. because body of the car is metallic, no? So if the lightning is going to fall on the car also, no, then you will be safe. Why? Because whatever field it will produce, that will not that will not affect inside. Why? Because metal is going to produce equal field in the opposite direction to cancel that, balance that. Okay, so you will remain safe. But if you are standing near the tree, then what will happen? You know, tree is connected to the ground, and it will attract the lightning will fall on it, and it will try to go to the earth. Okay, and as you are standing, so it may pass through your body also, and if it passes through your body, then obviously it is going to be harm you. Okay, so it's better to sit inside the car. Second application, see, wherever this high voltage is utilized in the machines in the industries, no, then what happens? Certain components are which are there in that machine, which has to be protected from electric field. Okay, strong electric field due to high voltage. So how to protect them? They are packed in a metallic box. Why? Because in metallic box, you know, electric field not able to affect those devices or those components of machine. Okay, so they will remain protected. Okay, the third application is that you have seen this cable wire. In cable wire you will find, no, first plastic part is there. Okay, then you will find a net of wires is there. Okay, a net of wires is there. Okay, and at the center a wire is coming out. This is a wire coming out, and then plastic is there, and over that plastic you will find this net of wires is there. This net of wires there is to protect this inner wire, okay, by electrostatic shielding. Okay, so that whatever signal is coming from this, okay, any outer signal is not able to enter into this. Okay, because all the signals are in the form of electric field. Okay, or electrical signals are there, and so electrical signal means it's electric field, a sort of electric field. So external electric field will not able to enter into this. So whatever program is coming, whatever message is coming through this, whatever data is coming through this, that will not get distorted. Okay, and that's why this net type metallic net type wiring is there. Okay, outside it, and then you find a black cover is there. No, clear? So this is again electrostatic shielding. Okay. Now what is capacitance? Let me tell you what is capacitance. See, very basic thing. Suppose you have got a conductor, spherical conductor. Okay. Suppose you put a charge Q1 on it. Okay. Now tell me, if its radius is capital R, what will be the potential on its surface? Obviously, it will be V is equals to K Q1 by R. Okay. Now, suppose now you have kept charge Q2 also. Now, what will be the potential? K Q1 plus Q2 upon R. Now you have increased. Again, you have kept here charge Q3 also. What will be the potential? K Q1 plus Q2 plus Q3 upon R. What do you find here? As the charge is increased on the conductor, what happens? Potential increases. Okay. So what we can say? What is the cause actually? Charge is the cause. Potential is the effect. Yes or no? Okay. So when charge is caused, what we can say? We can say that Q is proportional to V. Okay. Q is proportional to V. More the charge, more will be the potential. Okay. On that surface of conductor. Clear? Now, from here what we can do? Q is equals to a constant. Constant is C and V. Okay. This is there. That's what we get. Okay. Got it? So how to write this? You understood this? Now start writing. You have written heading capacitance. Okay. So start writing. The amount of charge required by a conductor or a device to raise its potential by 1 volt, to raise its potential by unity or 1 volt, is called capacitance of that, is known as capacitance of that conductor or device. Okay, so what is capacitance? The amount of charge. Suppose 5 coulomb charge is required by a device to increase, by a device or a conductor to increase its potential by 1 volt. Suppose its potential was 5 volt and you gave suppose 20 coulomb charge and its potential has become 6 volt. So increase by 1. So 20 is the capacitance of that conductor. Okay, got it? That is there. Now, how to get the relation for this? Okay, start writing. As yes, it is a scalar quantity. It is a scalar quantity denoted by C, capital C. Okay, and has SI unit. Okay, its SI unit is farad, which we denote by capital F. Okay, written. See, actually this farad is a larger unit. Okay, so basically we always we will require to use smaller units. So like, see, what is this? M for milli, F for farad, millifarad. So 1 millifarad is how many farad? 10 is the power minus 3. Okay. This is what? 1 microfarad. 1 microfarad is how much? 10 to the power minus 6 farad. Okay. Now this is 1. What is this? 1 picofarad. Picofarad is 10 to the power minus 12 farad. Okay. And one more we can write. 1 nanofarad is equals to 10 to the power minus 9 farad. Okay. So these are the smaller units of capacitance. Okay. Now it's time to get the expression for it. Okay. Written these units. Okay. Now how to get the expression for it? Start writing. When the charge is increased on a conductor, then its potential increases, then the potential on its surface increases. Okay. When the charge is increased on a conductor, then potential on its surface increases. Full stop. This indicates that charge is directly proportional to potential. That is, Q is proportional to V. That is, Q is proportional to V. Written? Okay. This implies that Q is equals to CV. Written? Where C is the proportionality constant. C is the proportionality constant. Okay. Known as capacitance of the conductor or device. Okay. Full stop. Capacitance of a conductor or device depends on the geometry of the conductor or device. Okay. Capacitance depends on geometry. Okay. It's not going to depend on the charge or the potential difference. Okay. It depends on the geometry of the device. Okay. If it is sphere, then it will depend on the radius of the sphere. Okay. If the radius is larger, then capacitance is larger. If radius is smaller, then capacitance is smaller. Okay, so that happens. Now, so this expression we use, this is very important. We will be using very frequently this equation. Please note it down. Okay. See, we are going to find out the capacitance of an, not a, but it is an. Okay, an isolated sphere. Isolated means it should not be connected to the earth. Otherwise, what will happen? Its charge will flow through the ground. Okay, so an isolated sphere is there, and we want to find out its capacitance. How to find? See, if suppose charge q is there on its surface, then what is the potential on its surface? Potential is, you know, k q by r. Okay, or what we can write? K is what? K is 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q upon r. Okay, when the medium between it is hollow. Okay, it's from inside. Okay, now this is our equation number 1, or we can write it like this. Okay, V is equals to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q by r. We can write it separately, then mark it equation number 1. Now, written this much, note it down. Written. Okay. Now, after this, what I will write here? According to the definition of capacitance. Right here. According to the definition of capacitance, and then you will write Q is equals to CV. Okay. This implies that C is equals to Q by V. Okay. This is our equation. This implies that C is equals to Q by V. This is our equation number 2. Written? Implies that. Okay. Now, once you have written, now you will write from equations 1 and 2. Okay. What we will do? I'm going to replace. Okay. From equations 1 and 2, what will we get? From equations 1 and 2, we get what we get? See, we get C is equals to, it is rather, if we are writing small q, capital Q here, okay, then we must write capital Q here also. Okay, then here also it should be capital Q. Okay, chart should be same. If you are writing small q, then you can write small q everywhere. Okay, that is important. So C is equals to Q by V. Q by V. What is the value of V that we have to put from equation number 1? It is 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q upon R. Clear? See, it was Q by V. So Q by we have written, and value of V we have taken from here. Okay. Now, what we can do? See, this 4 pi epsilon naught will go up. This R will go up. So we will have 4 pi epsilon naught Q R upon Q. Okay. Now this Q and this Q will cancel out. So we will left with 4 pi epsilon naught R. So this is the capacitance of a spherical capacitor of radius R. What do you find here? See, 4 is a constant, pi is a constant, epsilon naught is a constant. So what we can write from here? Can we write C is proportional to R? Okay. And this becomes sometimes very, very important. Why I'm saying sometimes? See, in those questions, no, like you have done earlier. If suppose, first write, then I will discuss. Okay. Done? Okay. See, in those questions you have done, no, like there are suppose 3 identical spheres. This sphere A, sphere B, identical. Okay, identical spheres are there, and this is sphere C. All 3 are identical. All have got radius R, R, and R. Okay, and this has got charge. Suppose Q1. This has got charge Q2, and this has got no charge. Okay, it has got no charge. And if you are touching to this, then what will the charge on this and this? See, when we touch on this, then what happens? Q1 by 2 charge it will have, and it will also have Q1 by 2 charge. equally it gets distributed when the size is identical. Okay, and now when you are going to touch this with this, now it is having how much charge? It is having q1 by 2 charge, and this is having q2 charge. So total charge is how much? q2 plus q1 by 2. Okay, that is total charge. So that charge again will get distributed equally because their radius is same, they are identical. So this by 2, that means you will get 2q2 plus q1 by 4. Okay, this much charge it will have as well as this will have. Okay? So in this way distribution of charge takes place. But my dear children, if they are not identical, then what will happen? Then how will you find the distribution of charge? Let me tell you. If suppose spheres are not identical, okay, this is a sphere of radius r, this sphere A, which is carrying charge q1, and this is a sphere of radius, this is suppose of 4r, and this is of r. Okay, this is sphere B. Okay, and it carries charge q2. Now how this charge will get distributed? Let's see. Total charge is how much? q1 plus q2. This will get distributed among them when you are bringing nearer and touching them. Okay, bringing them in contact. Then how this charge will get distributed? Total charge. See, it will get distributed according to their capacitance. Okay, such that both have same potential. Okay, otherwise we know that charge will flow from higher potential to lower potential, and will continue flow till both achieve the same potential, because once the potential is same, then no charge will flow. Okay, so till the potential is same, when the potential is same, we know that q is equals to cv, so v is equals to q by c. Okay, so when the potential will be same, obviously when the ratio of their charge to their capacitance is same. Okay, that means which has got more capacitance should have more charge, which has got lesser capacitance should have lesser charge. So this has got more capacitance. How? Because just now we have discussed that capacitance is proportional to radius. That means its capacitance is how much? 4 times than this. So it will hold 4 times charge than this. Okay, so this total charge we have to divide in how many parts? 5 parts. Out of 5, this will carry how many parts? 4 parts. Okay, so 4 by 5, q1 plus q2 it will have. Clear? And this will have how much? Remaining. That is q1 plus q2 by 5. 1/5 of this will have, and this will have 4/5. Clear? So in this way you can do the distribution of charge in the spheres of different different size. Okay, different size when they are not identical. Clear? Okay, now let us take a question on this. Okay, see, there are 27 spherical drops. So there are drops. Okay, 27 drops are there. Okay, like this, identical drops are there. Okay, this appears to be different, but it's not like that. Okay, they are identical drops are there. Okay, now their radius is how much? It is 3 mm. Okay, each have got radius how much? 3 mm. That means how much? 3 into 10 to the power minus 3 meter. Clear? Now charge on each drop is how much? 10 to the power minus 12 coulomb. Okay, now the question is that they are combined together. All the 27 drops are combined together. What we have to find out? Total capacitance and total potential. Okay, now see, when they are combined together, then what will be the capacitance and what will be the potential that we have to find out? So first we have to find out the volume of one drop. Okay, so what is the volume of one drop? Volume of one drop is equals to 4 by 3 pi r cube That is the volume of one drop. Okay. Now, so what is the volume of 27 drops? Volume of 27 drops is equals to 27 into 4 by 3 pi r cube. Okay, clear? So we can cancel this. 3 1 is 3, or let it be like this only. Okay, don't convert, cancel this. Okay, why? I will tell you later on. Now, when you combine them, then again, suppose you are getting a sphere. Okay, suppose when you combine them, you get a big spherical drop. Let the radius of that big spherical drop is capital R. Okay, now what will be its volume? Volume of new drop is 4 by 3 pi capital R cube. That's what you will get. Okay. Now see, so both the volumes must be equal, because you have got this big one, because you have combined all the 27 drops. So their volume must be same. Okay. Therefore, what we can write? So 4 by 3 pi capital R cube must be equals to 27 into 4 by 3 pi small r cube. Okay. So 4 by 3 cancel out. Pi cancels out. What we are left? R cube is equals to, can we write 27 as 3 cube? And this is R cube. Okay. So capital R is equals to how much? 3R. Okay. Okay. So we got capital R is equals to 3R. In this way, we got the radius of the bigger drop, or combination drop. Okay. We can say combination drop also. So we got the radius. Now, what is the total charge on this bigger drop or combination drop? Should I rub this now? Have you noted? Just note down. Okay. Now, what is the total charge? Net charge on combination drop is 27 into that cube, that is 27 into 10 to the power minus 12 coulomb. This is total charge. Okay. Now can you find out the potential? Potential is what? Potential is Q by radius R. Okay. K is what? 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught. Q is this one, that is 27 into 10 to the power minus 12. R is, that is 3R. Okay. Clear? Now what we can do, we can put the values. See, potential is equals to, value of this is how much? 9 into 10 to the power 9. This is 27 into 10 to the power minus 12. Radius 3. What is small r? Small r is how much? 10 to the power. Okay, it is 3 into 10 to the power minus 3. Okay. So what will get? See, 3 into 3. 3 3 is 9. 3 3 is 9. 3 1 is 3. 3 3 is 9. Now 3 1 is 3. 3 3 is 3 1 is 3. Okay. So what will get? This 3, 2 3 is cancelled and this 9 got cancelled. Okay. Now we have got what? 27 into 10 is the power 9 minus 12 is how much? Minus 3. And this minus 3 will go up. It will become plus 3. Okay. So what you are going to have? It is only 27 volt. Clear? So this is where we got the potential. Now we want to find out the capacitance. Okay, we know the charge. Can we find out the capacitance? Yes. Q is equals to CV. So from here what we can get? C is equals to Q by V. Okay. So C is equals to Q is how much? Q is, it is 27 into 10 to the power minus 12. 27 into 10 raised to the power minus 12. This is Q. And what is V? V is 27. You can cancel this. And capacitance what you will get? 10 raised to the power minus 12 farad. Or you can write 1 pico farad. Okay, because 10 raised to the power minus 12 is pico. Got the capacitance also? Okay. Okay children, with this, thank you to all of you. I will come again in the next video with the remaining topics. Till then, keep on studying. Take care of yourself. Okay, bye bye.